We expect 2024 to be a very busy period for the energy sector in Ireland. And the three key legal trends that we see in 2024 are a continuation of energy transition and climate policy changes, a focus on energy security, and an improved financing market for renewable energy projects. Looking at that first trend, the energy and climate change policy and legislation changes, 2023 was an interesting year in that, based on data, it is possibly the warmest year we've had in 100,000 years. However, it also seemed to be a year in which there was a reduced focus on climate policy and concerns. And it also was a year in which the energy sector in Ireland acknowledged that the 2030 targets that Ireland had set were potentially in jeopardy. These targets are in jeopardy as we saw a planning system which was overwhelmed, a grid system which had material limitations on its ability to cope with the planned renewable generation by 2030, as well as some inconsistencies and U-turns from government on certain policy, particularly those policies affecting the offshore wind market in Ireland. There's no doubt that this has impacted on investor and funder confidence in the Irish renewable energy market. However, we expect in 2024 to see some very positive developments that will assist in improving this environment. We should see during the first half of 2024 the implementation of Ireland's new planning legislation, which will implement fixed timelines for planning decisions and will help with the prioritisation of critical energy infrastructure. We also expect in the first quarter of 2024 to have a revised decision from the CRU in relation to compensation for curtailment of renewable energy projects in Ireland, following the judicial review of their decision in 2023. And there's a further hearing on the successful judicial review of that decision in January of this year, with potentially a CRU decision to follow shortly thereafter. In addition, in 2024, we'll see the continued rollout of the RES auctions in Ireland, with ORES 2.1 progressing in 2024, and we will have the implementation of the first DMAP in Ireland during that period, which will be closely monitored by any stakeholders with an interest in the Irish offshore market. RES 4 for onshore renewable generation will also take place in 2024, and the industry is optimistic that we will see an increase in the level of interest in RES 4 from what was probably a disappointing RES 3 outcome in 2023. Energy security plays a vital role in Ireland's economic success, and we'll see continued focus by the Irish government on measures which will help improve Ireland's energy security position to accommodate continued growth of our economy. In November 2023, the Irish government published its first energy security strategy paper, and a number of the initiatives that were identified in that strategy paper will be rolled out in 2024. If energy demand continues to grow in line with the growth of the Irish economy, it's potentially the case that we will see a requirement to implement new emergency generation projects, such as the ones that took place in Shannon Bridge and Tarbert, which are due to connect in 2024, with the potential for future projects to be implemented by the Irish state to avoid load shedding. Additional demand-side measures are also expected from the state in 2024, and the CRU will commence their consultation process on large energy users, which should provide some clarity to the data centre industry in Ireland and hopefully will help facilitate a clearer path to grid connection for data centres and other large energy users. Both EU and domestic legislation will continue to drive the renewable gas industry in Ireland as well, with legislation and policy being implemented over the course of 2024, which will provide greater clarity and encourage investment in this sector. We also expect to see an improved financing market for renewable projects in Ireland as interest rates have levelled off and the supply chain constraints seem to have eased. 2022 and 2023 saw very limited activity in the project financing of large-scale renewable projects in the Irish market for these various economic headwinds. And as these issues have been resolved and we've seen an increase in the number of projects which have obtained planning permission in the recent past, we expect to see significant increase in activity in the financing of both onshore wind and solar. And these projects are likely to be financed relying on both RES contract terms as well as corporate PPAs, which have become far more prevalent in the Irish market. In order to be successful in the Irish energy market in 2024, investors, funders and stakeholders in the Irish energy sector are going to have to keep abreast of a very fluid legislative and policy environment, as well as monitoring the usual commercial drivers that impact their business.